Hey guys, Oscar Combs here, Client Support Manager for ISO Certifications Group. And in today's episode of Certification Corner, we're going to discuss the 7 core principles of quality management. You know, many organizations pursue ISO 9001 certification due to customer pressures, or they're trying to win that big contract. But for the QMS to really be effective and add value to your organization, you must have these 7 core principles of quality management. What are they? Let's talk about it. All right, guys. So let's talk about the 7 core quality principles that we need for our quality management system to really be effective and add value so that it's more than just paperwork for you. You know, many organizations, they still seem to struggle with the concept of what quality really means to their organization. And if you ask just the average person, what does quality mean? You'll get a lot of different answers because quality is a bit subjective and a bit abstract. And it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But in the organization, if we really just think about a quality management system, what is it? Well, it's kind of in the title. It's a quality management system. It's a system that we use in the organization to manage quality. Just like you have a financial management system, or you have an accounting system, you have a safety system, maybe you have a system in your organization to help you maintain your equipment, your information technology, your computer systems. So the quality management system is just another system, but the emphasis is on how the organization manages quality. Now, the difference in the quality system from all of the other systems really is that the quality system is an umbrella system, and all other systems really should operate under the quality system and not outside or independent of the quality system, right? Now, just like any other of these systems we have, your quality, your safety, your financial system, your computer system, all of these things, people seem to be able to get their heads around those systems, but because I guess the quality is a bit abstract, people in the organization seem to struggle, like, what is the quality system, or sometimes what does the quality department even do, right? But if you think about quality, a quality system, or just quality in general, quality is every process in your organization at all levels, from top to bottom in your organization and throughout your organization, that is working to convert inputs into outputs. So if you think about any process in your company, from top to bottom throughout your organization, that is working to convert inputs into outputs, all these systems that we just talked about, the financial system, accounting system, computer system, all human resources system, all of these different systems in your organization, that's what they're doing. They're working to take inputs that you're putting into those systems, control those inputs, and convert them into the required outputs. So that is what the quality management system is doing. And that's why all of other systems need to operate within the infrastructure of the quality management system. So the quality management system doesn't just sit by itself over here. Like the other systems technically can kind of do that, with the exception of a few other of those systems that I mentioned. The quality management system reaches all of those systems, touches all of them, and they should be operating under or within, shall I say, the quality system. Sometimes we just think that quality is just about the product or the service that we're offering to our customers. But if we really think about what I said, that the quality is converting inputs into outputs, providing the correct product or service to your customer is merely an output of all of those other processes in your company that quality should be helping to control, right? So if we're thinking about the employees, the equipment, all of the other systems that we have, or even the external parties like suppliers, like all of those different internal and external processes are all working within the, if we want to call it, the ecosystem of the quality management system, where we are making sure we have the proper inputs and working to convert those into the required outputs. So for the QMS to really be effective and beneficial to your organization, guys, it must be built on these 7 core quality management principles that we're going to discuss here today. So let's talk about number 1 is being customer focused. Now, what do you think about when you think about customer? Most people think about go right to the external customer, the customer that is paying for your product or service. But when it comes to customer focus, we must focus on internal customers first, right? There is no external customer focus without internal customer focus, right? So departments and employees within those departments, they should be working to focus on the needs of the next department or focus on the needs of each other, right? What are the inputs from Department A to Department B, or even within the Department A, if the employees, they should be focused on customer focus on each other, even within their own department. So when an output goes out of their department into another department, it meets the requirements of that department, right? So once we really understand this concept of customer focus, that it starts internally first, because there is no external customer focus if there is no internal customer focus. We cannot be operating in silos, or one department is just operating independently and not working with the thought process that they are working to satisfy the next department, for example. All right, guys, so that's customer focus. We really need to work on that value for our quality system to be effective and to be adding value to the company. All right, number 2 principle is leadership. Now, we always hear a lot about leadership, right? So I know sometimes we get tired of hearing about leadership, but really leadership starts at the top, but really anybody in your organization can be a leader, right? A leader is someone who has the ability to influence someone else, and also that other people follow them. That's the criteria of a leader. Do you have any followers? So someone that's not in top management could also be a leader in your organization, but specifically the ISO 9001 is talking about leadership from your top management. So this could be an individual or a group of individuals, right? That's what top management is. It can also be other levels of management, middle management, things of this nature within your organization. But we expect leadership of the quality system to go all the way to the top, because let's just put it this way, your quality management system should not be led from the bottom up. And in many cases, organizations are operating that way, where people at the bottom are trying to force and push quality up to the top, and the people at the top are being resisted. So it doesn't work that way, guys. It has to come from the top down. All right. Now, leadership and quality is referring to top management demonstrating and understanding a commitment to quality through their examples, in their day-to-day practices, in their day-to-day decisions. They are working and communicating with all of the other members of the organization to understand that the quality management system is not optional. This is something that we do at the organization. It's value added, and everyone is expected to follow it, including leadership. People in your organization, your employees, are looking at the actions of the leaders more than what the leaders are saying. You can say quality is number one for us. Well, if that doesn't show in your day-to-day actions, how we're structuring things, our processes, our procedures, or when we are really making those critical decisions and we overlook something or choose to overlook something because it's going to take more money or it's going to take more time or whatever, that's when the employees are really paying attention to top management in regards to leadership of the quality management system. So the leaders in the organization must set the tone for quality. They must set the unified direction for all employees in regards to the quality management system and what the quality policies are and what we're trying to achieve with the quality system. All right, let's move on to principle number 3, which is engagement of people. Each member of management, has a responsibility to engage their employees when it comes to the quality system. And engagement doesn't mean that we're just talking about quality when things go wrong or something happens, a nonconformity. We're talking about that we should be discussing quality in a positive manner, promoting quality, discussing quality. Are we following processes and procedures? Are we working well with other departments? Are we meeting the other departments' requirements? Are we demonstrating customer focus internally? Things of this nature. So it's really engaging and talking about quality even before something goes wrong, right? If you only talk about quality when things go wrong, people start to associate quality with negativity. So they get triggered, right? Because we only talk about quality here in our company when something bad happens, a customer complaint, or we have a recall, or we have a product defect, we have a nonconformity, somebody didn't follow a procedure. Well, what about talking about all of those things before they happen, right? Let's talk about how to do things so we don't have nonconformities, how important it is to follow procedures, how important it is to do the proper training, all of these things before things happen, guys. It's not just about engaging when something negative happens. So let's focus on engaging the employees, and they should feel like they're part of the quality system and that they have a voice and that they can take ownership in their specific part of the quality system. See, because that's the thing about turning inputs into outputs, is that everybody is doing something to turn that input into the ultimate output all along the way. And again, that doesn't have to just be a product or a service that we're talking about that goes to the end customer. It could be how we fill out this internal report going to the next person. It could be how we enter this data into the system that someone else will be using to make their decisions, guys. So we got to get everybody on the same page and engage them, talk about it, not just when it's negative. All right, let's move on to principle number 4, the process approach. I really love this principle, the process approach. Again, that is basically where we are planning, doing, checking, and taking action, right? PDCA, plan, do, check, act. And if we're doing that, we're also making sure those inputs and outputs are aligned, right? That we're converting those inputs and outputs, and the output is meeting the requirements, and we're putting in the proper inputs. So the process approach applies throughout every aspect of the organization, and we need to really make sure everyone understands that you are an input to another organization, right? And everybody's putting as an output converts into an input to someone else. So we need to understand, like, if it's a customer order, or processing that order that we receive from the customer, how do we purchase materials and services that we need internally to process the customer order? Or is everybody getting the training that's needed so that we can make sure we're doing things per policy, per procedure, per customer requirements? And when we're actually doing that work, or machining, or producing those parts, or mixing that batch, like, are we doing that properly per process, right? Are we performing those inspections before we ship? And when we ship, are we packaging things? And are we shipping it to the right location, right? All these things, guys. It's the process approach. If we get one thing wrong, for example, shipping, if we put in the wrong address, of course, it's going to be shipped to the wrong location. This is the importance of process approach. If we have someone who is working on something and they're not trained, well, how can they're serving as an input into production, but they haven't been trained on what they're doing? Come on, guys. Process approach is so critical in the organization, and we cannot discount it or take it for granted. Processes are not independent of each other. They're all working together. All your processes in your company are working together, not in silos. We are all working together to turn our inputs into outputs for the next group or the next department. So we have to put an emphasis on controlling those inputs and outputs and make sure everybody is on the same page. All right, let's move on to number 5, which is improvement. Guys, in our quality system, we should be focusing on trying to improve all the time. I'm not talking about just improving just for the sake of it, right? Sometimes we kind of get in this situation where we just want to make a change to make a change. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about making things better. That's what improvement is. Can we make this better? That's what the whole process approach is as well. Plan, do, check, act. Like the A is taking action. So improvement. What can we do to improve things? Do we need to improve things? Like, we can sometimes just start right there, guys. Do we need to improve? If the answer is yes, well, what can we do about it? And improvements don't have to be really big things that cost a lot of money. You can make transformational improvements in the organization with just one small thing. It's kind of like that little drip of water, right? That has, an impact, a ripple. You can do that. And that's what improvement does. It doesn't have to be something really big or major, but we do have to monitor our processes. Plan, do, check, act. The C is checking, is monitoring, to make sure that everything is working. All of our processes are aligned, whether that's monitoring our KPIs or performance scorecards. Like, how do we know if we need to make improvements if we're not monitoring data so that it can drive that improvement? And improvement, guys, is not a project. Get rid of improvement project. It's improvement. this is the culture of the company. If we think of improvement as a specific project, we think it's over when the project ends. And improvement never ends. It's an ongoing process. That's why in ISO 9001 it's called continual improvement, meaning improvement that's not stimulated by a negative event. This is something that we're just doing as culture within our organization. All right, so let's talk about number 6, evidence-based decision making. I like this one too, because many times we make these decisions just based upon how we feel or what somebody told us or what we think. And that's the worst decision, making a decision based upon just what you think. Guys, we have to make decisions based upon what the data is telling us. Many times I try to make a decision and I find myself not being objective, right? So I have to go to the data, because the data doesn't lie. It's objective. It's trying to tell me something if I'm listening, and if I look at it, if I turn to the data for insight, it's there for me if I'm paying attention and listening to the data. So what data are we talking about? This could be feedback from employees, from your customers. Be surprised, many companies don't even do customer satisfaction surveys, or they don't solicit feedback from the employees, right? They don't even solicit feedback from their suppliers, right? So how can you get that feedback? I'm also talking about KPIs, key performance indicators. I'm talking about statistical data. I'm talking about metrics that you should be monitoring, your quality objectives, things of this nature, right? Your audit reports, your inspection reports. And just think about it. If all of this data is just on a piece of paper, how can you analyze it? Oh yeah, Oscar, we do our inspection reports, we do our audits, we track our non-conformities, and they're all just handwritten on a piece of paper. Well, what good is that data if you're not able to put it into even a simple spreadsheet and analyze the trends, see what the data is telling you? There's no way you can analyze data and make evidence-based decisions if all the data is just on forms, guys. We got to get that data off of the forms. We have to get it into some type of system, simple spreadsheet, a database, or you may have other ERP modules that will do this for you. But we got to get to the point where we're making decisions or what we call evidence-based decisions. What is the evidence telling us? What is the objective evidence telling us? Well, we do good customer satisfaction, or we satisfy our customers. Well, how do you know that? Have you asked them? Well, they don't say anything. Well, that's fine, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing that we don't need to improve on. That's why we talk to them, ask questions, right? So we can make evidence-based decisions. Number 7, the last principle is relationship management. When it comes to quality, we have to have relationships because it's people. I know we're talking about doing all of this AI stuff and robotics, and we may not need to have, I guess, technically relationships at that point for those processes, because they'll maybe be a bit automated. But guys, we as people, it's people doing all of that work. And even when it comes to AI and robotics, automation, there's people programming that, setting that up. So we will never get rid of the relational aspect of the quality system, nor should we be seeking to do that, because it's people that make the world go round, guys. It's people following and executing our processes in our company. It's not the equipment. It's the person that's setting up the equipment. It's the person that's entering the code as an input, right? Remember, inputs and outputs, guys. So the relationship is how we connect with people. And we can't, again, just connect when it comes to quality when it's a negative thing. We should be talking about things before they go wrong. And when we have a relationship, it makes it easier to talk about when something does go wrong. But if you're only talking to someone or a certain department when something negative happens, customer complaint, oh, here comes the president, or my manager come and talk to me now about quality when something bad has occurred. Well, why you didn't talk to them before? So that, for one, we could have prevented possibly something negative from happening, and we would have a relationship with them. So if something does occur, that we have that relationship and they don't get so upset, and we can just talk about it objectively and they take action on it, right? So guys, we all need to be working towards these 7 core quality management principles. They're very key if you want your quality system to be more than just paperwork. And you want it to be really the underpinning of your operations and to add real value to your company. All right, guys. So in closing, a quality management system, as I just mentioned, it is more than paperwork. I know it's still out there that people still think that your quality management system is just about documents, guys. I just mentioned to you. It's about those processes. It's about these 7 core quality management principles. These are critical to the effective operations and the value add for your quality management system. If your QMS isn't working like it's supposed to and it's not adding value, well, you're probably deficient in one or more of these 7 core values. I encourage you to hit the notification button. Also, subscribe to our channel so that you can be aware of next time that we drop a new video. Take a second and follow us. Share this video. Leave a comment. I'm very interested in knowing, does your organization have these 7 core quality management principles today? Or in your certification journey, is this something that you guys are working on? And where are you in the process of working on these core principles? Oscar Combs here with the ISO Certifications Group, certification made in America. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye now.